You know what really gets me? You do everything right. Okay, you show up early, you stay late, you mentor the younger folks, you take on those impossible projects that nobody wants. You are loyal, and then one day, boom, you're 50 and you're out. You're fired.
Wow, Lou, not fired, restructured, reorganized, realigned. It's the result of a job being eliminated.
Well, that doesn't make us feel any better.
It doesn't. That's why we are going to talk about it today.
We today have a treat for you. We have Shay Tower here with us, someone who lived this, recently laid off, navigating what comes next. And Shay, I'm going to be honest, I need to hear how you didn't completely lose it. You look amazing, by the way.
Well, thank you. I think you'll find that I did lose it. I did come apart a little bit, and I had to spend some time kind of pulling myself back together, kind of dusting myself off and thinking about what was next. So it was not easy.
I like where this is going.
Yeah, it all came as a complete and total shock. In the tech industry, layoffs are pretty common these days. So I got an invite, a 15-minute invite from my new boss to have a chat prior to a broader organization-wide meeting. And in that 15 minutes, there were a lot of words. There were a lot of words around, I'm so excited about this change, and we're going to manifest our own destiny, and we're going to make a real impact. And in the 15 minutes, there were no words about positions being eliminated. And so when the entire organization joined the call and those words started to filter in, it really dawned on me that my position and 40% of my team, their positions were all being eliminated. We were welcome to apply. It's all the common, you're welcome to apply for a new position, compete for a new role, interview. However, those new roles came with job description, changes in job descriptions, and oftentimes with demotions. And so I remember walking back to my desk and, 60 people following back to our desks, and everybody kind of just thinking, what just happened? And me thinking, did I just get fired? Whether they call it a reorg or a restructuring or a realignment or whatever it is, it's a layoff. It's a firing. Your job no longer exists with them.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. Particularly cruel, in my opinion, in the beginning. Oh, I'm so excited to tell you we have great news. I mean, that just so beyond the immediate shock.
Oh, I was just going to say, the pep talk, that enthusiasm, that excitement for the future, that would be a great conversation for day one of the new organization that they were building. It was not the right, it's not the right
Absolutely.
song, not the right words for the occasion.
Yeah, it just blows my mind. Like, in what world would you think that that's okay to do? But so beyond the immediate shock, what actually changed, like, day to day?
Well, day one, I found that I was sitting in my office with my laptop, and I had my severance package out, and I had a lot of feelings. I built a career. I climbed the ladder. I found my voice. I earned my seat at the table, and all of that abruptly ended.
That's a lot to lose all at once.
Yeah, and so when like the job goes, like for somebody, at a director level like you, like how does it all shape out?
The first week I really was dumbfounded. And this happens to everybody, right? You're blindsided by it. Even when these things are happening in your company, there's no whispers necessarily about you. And so it definitely feels blindsided when it does hit you. And you can't help but think, why me? Right? Like I remember thinking, like, questioning myself and questioning my performance. But the fact is that I was really good at my job. All of my performance reviews and all of my opportunities for advancement, they told me that I was good at my job. It was a lot to process that first week, and I was really just in disbelief. I think those are, part of all of those stages of grief that you go through.
How long do those stages take? I know it's like different for different people.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, for me, I was pretty much a mess for a couple of months. Whether they call it a firing or not, you have a big change that you're dealing with, and it's really impossible to not allow your job, your position, your title, your promotion. It's really difficult to not have those things become part of your identity, because we invest so much of it. We invest so much of our time and our energy, and so much of our emotion into it as well. And for me, as a woman who'd always been the glue, the mentor, the fixer, the people leader, the coach, it really felt like losing myself. And so, not only does being fired come with shame and embarrassment, but it also comes with the feelings of, it's a loss of structure, it's a loss of status, it's a loss of kind of feeling a sense of purpose.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that must have been like very difficult on you as well as like, your family. So how did your family and friends react?
So it took me a little bit to kind of work through things. My family, I actually, at the beginning, I put a lot of stock in what other people would think, people other than my family and my friends and my mentors, my support system. I really focused on other people's perception and judgment of me. So there was a lot of noise in my head. It feels impossible to not think about that because, no matter the relationships that you build within an organization, there are always people that are cheering against you. And those were the people that I was focusing on. So I worried about, those people that would have said like, oh, I'm not surprised. Oh, she was never worthy. Or I never thought she was smart. Or frankly, I just didn't like her anyway. So I'm glad she's not here. So I really focused a lot on that more than anything. But my actual people, my actual network, my family, my friends, my mentors, they all showed up and they loved me loudly. They lifted me up and they reminded me of who I am and what I bring to the table.
That is amazing. You can focus on, I would just call them those people. Right? You can focus those people because it's not even worth it to let them live for free in your mind.
Correct.
Yep.
Right? And I think what you went through, Shay, I went through too. Like, I think, we all go through. So I just wanted to say thank you for sharing.
Yeah, all of us went through this just recently as leaders. Like for me, the anxiety was very loud. How was it for you, Shay? Like, whose anxiety was loudest? Or was it yours or like your family, friends, or, somebody else's?
It was really mine. Mine was so much louder than anybody else's. The people around me who know me were my biggest cheerleaders and my biggest support, and reminding me of the things that I had done and the things that I had yet to do, and how I could do those things in different industries or whatnot. So I was much harder on myself. I was the noise was much louder in my head than it was from them. They were super supportive, and I felt like they all carried the confidence for me while I was still trying to regain mine.
That's all right. They always say like family and friends first. The work is next.
Exactly.
Okay, so real talk now. Something that it's hard, right? Like we're not spring chickens anymore. How do you rebuild the confidence at 50? It was hard for me, to just not spiral into that, like, oh, I'm too old, I'm expired, nobody wants me, I don't know anything, it's the anxiety.
Yeah, I think about it in terms of cobwebs.
Webs.
So I was working with an executive coach who asked me, like, one of the exercises that we did, she asked me to describe, give a picture to what I was feeling. Like, what does this look like? And as I thought about it, I was like, when you walk into a room and you walk into a spider web and it takes you by surprise and it's kind of sticky and it's, you don't know what's in there. So you're kind of, you're kind of afraid at first. And then you kind of realize, well, that didn't really hurt me. It was just a little ick. And then you kind of move through it and you dust yourself off. And so I feel like that was just for me how I was feeling at that moment. Kind of, it was icky, but I was gonna get through it.
So like what mindsets had to die for you through this journey?
There is a Brene Brown book where she talks about embracing the suck. So I really had to embrace the suck.
Her. I love her.
I had to embrace the uncertainty of it all, and really, accept that fear holds us back. I had to let go, Lou. I had to let go of the idea that 50 is old. Many people, very successfully change their careers at all ages. And I really had to kind of do an inventory of my skills, my talents, and think about how they were transferable, how they could be valuable in another position. So I really had to do that work. And I think, again, everybody kind of walks their own timeline, or kind of makes their way through grief on their own timeline. Me, I needed some time to do those kinds of things and really think about what I had accomplished and what I still felt there was left for me to do. And so it was definitely work that I had to do.
After getting laid off, after a few months, the first big question that's on all of our minds is, where does the money come from? So how do you think about how did you think about finances?
Yeah, I think, thinking about money, you have to understand your money. And if I think about in one of your previous episodes where you talked with Karthik, who had retired early, I think that's something that we all should do at our age, especially if you are in kind of a volatile industry. You always have to understand your money. And I think when you take the time to understand your money, that gives you permission to kind of redefine what success looks like for you. So, sitting down to think about, what does this severance package look like? How long can I make it last? Do I have to sign up for COBRA? Do I have savings that I can tap into? Like, how quickly do I have to find a job? And what salary do you want versus need? So you really have to know that about yourself and about your family and about, your future, working or not working. I think you just always have to keep tabs on that. We have always done our retirement planning like on a monthly basis. We just kind of check in, see where we are, see how we're feeling.
No, good for you.
It wasn't, I recognize that I speak from a place of privilege when I say, when I was broadsided by this, making the house payment wasn't my first concern. And I think that's because we made it a priority to understand our finances many, many years ago.
But that's good. That's good. And I love some of the questions, that came with the finances, like, how much money do I want to make? But like, what is really important to me? So that itself already makes you embark in that journey, right? How do you redefine yourself? What is it that you want?
And I think, when a lot of these things happen, it's also very important to also look at what are the benefits that some of the government also provides. For example, even with severance, like I know, your specific state will also provide like unemployment benefits provided you qualify for that. So even those are things that are available through the system that people need to take full stock of in addition to their own personal financial situation, because there is help everywhere, but you just have to ask for it.
One of the things is, that kind of go when you're going through those stages of grief, you have that kind of shame and embarrassment. And I think a lot of people don't want to apply for unemployment benefits because they're embarrassed. Like, that really makes it real. But it's going to get real a couple months from now when you have zero coming in. And, it's a system that you paid into. It's a system that your company paid into. And you're eligible for it. Take advantage of it. Yeah.
You're eligible. That's your money. Go do
Yeah.
it. What does redefine success means to you?
Well, I think, again, understanding your money kind of gives you the permission to redefine success. What does that look like for you? And, kind of taking the time to think about what your core values are. We all worked in environments where profits were put before people, PowerPoints were put before purpose. And I think when you can take a breath and you can really think about what are your core values, not just what were the corporate values, what were the behaviors, what were all of the things that on the outside a company looked like it was doing, like, stepping back and really thinking about what do I care about and what are my core values? What do I want to do? What do I want from the work that I'm doing, right? We invest a lot of time into it. So what do I want to invest in? What am I willing to tolerate or no longer tolerate, or trade-offs I'm willing to make or no longer willing to make? I think it really gives you the permission for me, it gave me permission to look for an organization that aligns with my core values. So I was ready to look for something that had purpose. It was kind of grounded in service, and certainly had a mission of equity.
I love that. And that is exactly very similar to my journey, Shay. It was much less about the title. It was about the fit. The culture, what the employees were saying. Of course, profit is important. A company has to survive, but you don't have to do that at the expense of other important things like your own culture.
Trying to find mission-driven companies that align with your core purpose and values is more important than the total comp package and the titles. I think we are all at the point in our lives where it's important to prioritize ourselves and our growth, at the same level that we put our teams, our products, and our business on the same pedestal.
Yeah. So, Shay, someone's listening right now and they just got the call. What do you tell them?
First of all, and nobody's going to listen to this because I did the exact same thing. But first of all, it's not you, it's them. It's business. It's not personal. And if someone is kind of in the later stage of their career, I would say take a deep breath and think about a future of impact and autonomy. Like, really take some time to kind of work through those stages of grief and do some reflection and think about the future and how you want to show up in the future, what you want to give in the future.
What should they not do in week one?
In week one, don't try to solve it. I jumped into LinkedIn and was miserable. I didn't even know where to find anything.
I did too. Oh, great advice, Shay.
I had focused so much for, decades on my internal network that I kind of let my external network kind of get dusty. And so, jumping into LinkedIn, I didn't even know the first thing that I needed to do. So, the first week, don't try to solve the issue. Just take some time to feel the feelings. And really, a lot of what I did was I kind of created this whole story around my self-worth. And I think that's because I immediately jumped into LinkedIn and I saw everything that was out there and what was not out there, and, who I was competing with, and, all of these recommendations on how to be visible on LinkedIn. And it was work that I was like, oh my goodness, I'm not ready for this. Shut it down. I'm not ready for it. So just taking some time to feel the feelings and just be wary of creating stories about yourself.
So any final wisdom for our listeners?
That was a lot of wisdom already. You are wise beyond your years, young one.
Well, like I said, everyone kind of processes grief on their own timeline. But I think once you ultimately kind of shift from reacting to things to kind of planning for things. And when you think through, you kind of go through those stages and get through reflection, and you really start to think about the work that will align with your core values instead of something that's safe, or instead of something that has the salary that that you're comfortable with. That's when you really start to see, the work starts to emerge that that is meaningful. You start to find what is the work that I can have an impact, and therefore I'm motivated to do my best work every day. That's when you start to kind of find that autonomy define itself for you. So, when you can work the way that you need to work, and do your best work every day without looking over your shoulder, knowing that you're just motivated to produce well, and that's when there's less burnout, when you really are kind of focused on autonomy and impact. But I think, sorry, that was a long-winded way to get to kind of the bottom line, is just that whether it's a layoff, a restructuring, a reprioritizing, a firing, whatever they call it, a company is ending your job, but it also ends their access to you, their access to your skills and your experience and your leadership and your network. That is forever yours. That's what you get to take with you.
So if I'm kind of like playing this back, so you're saying the work that needs to be done is for people to figure out like what makes them happy and fulfilled. What do they want to feel their future days to look like? So that way they're not like starting over.
Yeah, they're starting realigned. I love that. You're not starting over, you're starting realigned.
Yeah, if we've been through this or in it now, listeners, tell us what you're learning. What's making you happy now that didn't before? Even if it was like shopping at Costco, we want to hear it.
I actually, Shay showed me something that she wrote, and it's just so meaningful. And would you do us the honors of reading it to us? And I think that would just summarize our episode, and we can close with that.
Sure. So, I've always been big into journaling. And so I journaled a lot through this process. And again, that was my kind of reflection period that I think has gotten me to kind of the other side of it, which is clarity. So I wrote this, and I didn't know if it was going to be a LinkedIn article or if it was just going to be a journal entry. So I'll read it for you. You're 50. You've leaned in, you've been vulnerable, you've shown up authentically, you've cared personally and challenged directly. You found your voice, you've sat at the table, you are an executive at a Fortune 100 company in a male-dominated field and industry, leading hundreds of people and rising. You're celebrating a decades-long marriage, you've got kiddos to middle of high school, relatively unscathed. You've mentored, you coached, advocated, and sponsored. You've developed future leaders. You've lifted others up. You've been deeply engaged in the community. You've maintained connections with family and friends. By all accounts, you have done it all. Now you are in your late career. You're riding high. You have accomplished more than you ever dreamed. It hasn't been easy, but it's been worth it. And suddenly, you're impacted by a corporate restructuring. You have the difficult decision of whether to apply for a new role within the company you thought you would retire from, or step into the unfamiliar. You choose the unfamiliar. You wrestle with how to describe the situation to others. Were you fired, laid off, let go? You have a hard time reconciling that you chose this. After those first fitful hours, days, weeks, working through the stages of grief, you jump into the first job search you've embarked on in many years. You learn that you have no idea how to create a resume. You definitely need to update your LinkedIn profile. You dust off your network and barrel headfirst into reconnecting. You join the networking groups. You plunge into reskilling. You hire an executive coach. You struggle through the negative self-talk. Then you start to realize that you don't have to prove yourself. You know what you have achieved, and the people that matter cheer you on because they know how awesome you are. You continue processing the halt of the hustle, the decrease in decision-making, the departure from the morning commute, the elimination of after-hours calls, and the care and feeding of others' careers. You realize that celebration is in order. You see the gift staring at you. You turn your focus to the things you've sacrificed, your physicality, your sleep, your soul-enriching reading, your to-do list, and your hobbies, and you find your way back. And while you are pouring into yourself, your perspective changes, and you start thinking about your personal values and your career purpose and what tables you want to sit at. You start thinking about the late stage of your career and the impact that you want to have and on who. You consider field, industry, and balance instead of salary. You start thinking about what you're willing to do and not do. You consider boundaries you've never set before. You choose what you fill your plate with. You are so grateful for the career phases you've grown through. You prioritize yourself and the things you value the most. You acknowledge the worldview changing experiences you've had. You cherish the friendships you've made. You have fondness for the seasons you've weathered. You rediscover yourself.
That was
I love
lovely.
that.
I mean, the part that hit me was definitely, you have to prioritize yourself and figure out what matters to you most. So thank you so much, Shay. This
Sure.
is 2 Coffees In. See you all in 2 weeks.
See you in 2 weeks. Thank you so
Thank you
much,
so much,
Shay.
sir.
Thanks for having me.
Amazing.